Dude, this might be just the best time to be a sneakerhead, like a real sneakerhead. Not a reseller, not a hype beast, but an actual sneakerhead, especially if you grew up in the 80s and 90s. This is amazing. DMX air transfer system is back.
Shut the front door.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. This is a shoe that, well, I would say this is a technology that I didn't think that we would get like this back again, and I'm very excited. So for those of you guys that don't know, Reebok has brought back its DMX air transfer system, a system that originally debuted way back in 1997 with the DMX Run 10.
My name's Spencer White. I've been working on these shoes 4 or 5 years now. I'm going anywhere to find some runners. Oh, there's one right up ahead. You interested in trying a new running shoe? Want to try a new running shoe? It's called the DMX Run. From Reebok. I made these. Watch out for that car coming at you. The air transfer cushioning. This is the biggest breakthrough we've ever come up with. Would you switch?
I think so. I do.
Ninth one today. I'm here to make the best running shoes in the world.
That was a DMX 10 pack, so there was 5 air units up front, there were 5 air units in the back, there were tubes transferring each of the air channels between them, so that when you stepped on one portion of the shoe in the rear, it would push or transfer the air to the front and vice versa. In terms of basketball products, DMX actually made its debut within the Reebok Answer 1s, and within the latest Reebok Answer 1 Retros, which haven't come out in a while, but something like the original white and red colorway, they actually did bring back the DMX cushioning system, but it was in I-pack form, so not quite like the original. So the original Answer 1s had the same 10 pack that the DMX Run had, whereas the latest Retro has an I-pack. Basically, that means that there's one in the front, like one pod in the front and one pod in the rear, and then there's one tube transferring the air from one end to the next.
Awesome. Wow.
Those were DMX units that were used in later Iverson models like the 4s and things like that, but they're not in the 4 Retros, I don't think. I think they might have been in the 5 Retro, pretty sure. Now, this is, well, this is not quite what I was hoping for with the DMX debut or re-debut or reintroduction or whatever you want to call it, mostly because these are kind of ugly, but this is the Reebok's DMX 3000. So yeah, I can't really tell what these are. Like if you were to look at these, what do they look like? Definitely not basketball. They don't look like a runner, but they kind of do.
To be fair, and I know it's because of the color blocking.
Mm-hmm. Did it look like a trail shoe or something?
They look like those KDs we have sitting inside.
The ones that I just got at Ross?
Yeah.
The 18s?
Yes.
Because of the colors.
Because of the colors and the ribbing.
I can see it, I can see it. But the toe, it doesn't scream one category. You know what I mean? Like this could just be like an old man's shoe. Like I would see this at a big box store like Famous Footwear or something like that. This doesn't scream like prime Reebok, like say something like this. This is awesome. This, not so much. These, by the way, were worn by Nick Van Exel, Nick the Quick Van Exel. If you guys don't know who that is, go look up some highlights ASAP because dude was awesome.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
So just in case you were curious, this is the Reebok DMX Lightning. These feature original DMX cushioning, and this is actually the 6-pack. So there was multiple variations of DMX cushioning. So again, there was the I-pack, there was the 10-pack, there was this guy right here with the 6-pack. Basically, there's one pod right here and then 5 in the rear. And when you look at it, I mean, the pod bubbles up like that. And that's why the air would then transfer into these tubes, into the back area where the 5-pack lies, and then they would circle around in there. Very cool concept, very cool design, very fucking comfortable, but back in the day, not very durable. These bags inside would eventually pop. Just not the best thing. It eventually got discontinued. In the basketball and other sporting categories, they ended up still using DMX cushioning systems, but it was within Rockport shoes, which are like that's what this looks like. It looks like an old man shoe. But yeah, is this DMX cushion the same as that? The short answer is no, which is unfortunate, but I will say that it does feel a hell of a lot more durable than the original. This one is almost what I would maybe call visible DMX, where in the heel especially, like you can see the pods, you know what I mean? Like this is really cool. So we've got 3 in the back here. There's actually foam underneath. So when you look at the bottom right there, there's foam layering like in between and on top. So you've got a lot of comfort from that. These pods right here are very firm, basically air bubbles, which is, I know some people will be like, isn't that a Nike thing? Nike doesn't own, how would you call it? Like other people can use air pockets. It just can't be their specific style of air pocket. So if you even look at skate shoes like Globes or whatever brand, like Osiris, all that stuff, they all got like nitrogen pockets. I don't know what the material is inside of this or the air, but they're still allowed to do it. I mean, they were allowed to do air transfer back then. So same thing, just different kind of like overall design. But yeah, these feel like much more durable than the original, like I guess you would call them air sacks from the original products. They're also a hell of a lot thicker too. So DMX was never this thick. It was just uncomfortable. I think the reason why that you can't feel this one is mostly because the air transfer is within itself. It's in that heel unit, which is actually depicted on the insole right here. You can see that there are the 3 little chambers or the 3 pods, and then there are the tubes connecting them. So this is kind of a weird way to do DMX where you're not exactly getting the full result. Like if I were to compare this with anything, it kind of reminds me of Nike's air units. And I'm going to use this Penny 2 airbag as an example, but basically right here is a crash pad, and then there's a tube inside of all of this polyurethane right here, but there's a tube in there that connects down here, and then there's a surrounding airbag. So it's got 2 different PSI densities. And while it doesn't say that these have different densities of PSI, obviously it's allowing the air to move. It's just not as fluid, you know what I mean? Like you can't feel it the way that you would with something like this, where the air is literally transferring from the heel to the toe. And that's the motion that you see, or not see, but feel when you're like walking or running. Whereas this one, you can't really feel it. You know what I mean? Like it's just isolated back there. It's cool, but it's not quite as DMX-y as what I would expect. Is the shoe still comfortable? Yes, mostly because of the midsole foam. It's just that I can't feel the DMX that's in there. But they sure make the outsole look reminiscent of old DMX technology. The forefoot especially, where it looks like there's multiple pods, even though there's not. The way that it's sculpted and contoured is allowing for that foam to really like compress and deflect energy. So that's really cool. The upper though is pretty basic. It's mostly textile. And then there are thin pieces of synthetic leather overlays, at least on this particular colorway. This one happens to be like, these are some weird colors. They're brown and neon and all that stuff. It's probably the best looking colorway, or at least the one that pops the most on camera than some of the other ones that are available right now over at Reebok's website. Now, in terms of overall sizing, I would go true to size. I think that they fit perfect. It's just a little lackluster in the DMX department, even though it's really cool to see that that material is back, or that cushion is back. I would love to see them really expand on this, but it might depend on how well this particular shoe is received. And I don't know if this is the best debut shoe for this, but at least it's a start. So I like seeing that DMX is back. I like seeing that DMX air transfer system is back. I would just like to see it back in maybe a bigger or bolder way, like maybe push the envelope just a little bit more right here, isolated to the heel. It's a little bit safe, and I would like to see something maybe not so safe, like go all out, balls to the walls, if you will. And with that being said, what is today's viewer submitted question of the day?
With everyone wanting low and light shoes, do you think this has made shoes less durable and made injuries more prone to happen since the material can't hold up to the torque? For reference, I have the original Jordans 10 through 22, and they are all still playable, and the original Kobe line is still playable compared to this new stuff.
Well, when we're talking about original Kobe line, I'm assuming that he's meaning the Nike line, not the Adidas line. And I'm assuming he's comparing them to Protros, I'm not sure. But some of the Protros are great, some of them not so much. And so yeah, I don't know what's going on there. But the original Jordans definitely are playable. They're definitely not up to what modern hoopers expect out of shoes. Modern hoopers actually like this kind of, like the lightweight, crappy stuff.
I think that's what they're complaining about.
Yes.
Everybody, but they're getting rammed through.
Yes, and that's the thing. This is the thing with marketing. So like marketing is used to sell its product to the masses, right? So like when high tops became a thing, or actually let me go back a little bit further. So when basketball shoes, for example, were made out of all canvas, like do we think that that is very supportive? We're talking about Chuck Taylors, PF Flyers, stuff like that, right? Were there massive amounts of injuries despite those materials being lighter and thinner than what we even get today? The cushion wasn't even good, and they didn't even have torsion support, and there were still no injuries like what we see today. So if we're talking about comparing light, cheaper materials to other light, cheaper materials, I just don't think that that's the problem. And then we've got the leather build in construction, which things moved on to, and then they promoted that as like leather is better and stronger, which I do believe is true. And then they went from low tops like the original Shell Toast and Superstars, as well as the Converse, like, well, they're not back there, but there were lows of the weapons, but like the Pro Leathers and things like that, what Dr. J used to wear, they were lows and highs, and they really started promoting the highs as ankle support. I mean, that shoe right there, the weapon, is one of the originals to do it, the Y-bar. What is the Y-bar? It's just an overlay. Is that actual ankle support? No, 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 no. So yeah, so there's ways that brands really trick consumers into them thinking that what they're getting is what they're being told. And that's almost never the case, which is unfortunate because that sucks. You know what I mean? Like nobody likes getting lied to. But when we're comparing today's athletes to athletes of yesteryear, like first off, if you're gonna look at Michael Jordan in some of those shoes, he's torquing the holy out of some of these shoes. You can see them twisting and bending, and they are keeping him stable, but just barely. And this is just kind of what happens. This happens to smaller guys too. It's just really interesting. It's a topic that, like, I guess is fully debatable, obviously, but I believe that the reason why we're getting more injuries is not necessarily from the builds. I think it's mostly from the cushions. And I also think that a lot of these injuries are overuse injuries as well. So when we're talking about the ligaments or the tendons and those things snapping, those are overuse injuries 9 times out of 10. And then we're not even considering what the athlete's going through. Maybe he's dehydrated, maybe he's taking supplements, maybe he's not eating enough of one thing and he's eating too much of something else. You don't know the full span of what's going on, so you don't really have the ability to speak on it. You know what I mean? Like that, me, which is why you never hear me talk about it really, because I don't know all of the information. So if I don't know all the information, I'm not going to sit here and make a claim because that's not like accurate. You know what I mean? Like it's just not right. You can talk about it like what we're doing now and just kind of discuss, which is what I think everything is all about. Is like what do you think is the problem? And I just really think that a lot of those are overuse injuries, and that's basically it. But anyways, what about you guys? What do you think is the root cause for everything? Feel free to speculate down below in the comment section. And on top of all of that, what do you think about the Reebok DMX Series 3000? Do you think that this is a good like reintroduction of DMX air transfer system? Or do you think that they could have gone a little bit bolder and maybe put an air unit in the front so that the air can really transfer around the shoe the way that it was originally meant to? Sound off below and let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. We'll catch you guys in the next one. So until then, you guys have a good one.